So for a few years now, between projects, I've been working on this long-term writing project. It's something that I've been really excited about and something that I think has a lot of promise. I've even put a lot of time and effort into creating concept art, making a universe bible, and really breaking down an outline for what I think will work well for the first season of the show. I'm getting closer to the point to where I want to pitch this to an actual network and get it made, but one of the major problems that I'm coming across is that it is almost impossible for me to get good quality feedback on a script. And this is a problem that I've had constantly ever since college. Every single time I have a screenplay and I hand it to somebody, they just grade it like an 8th grade English teacher and hand it back to me. You see, I care more about the creative side, about the characters, about the story structure, about is it intriguing, is it developing, and usually if somebody's giving you just a bunch of formatting notes, that's a bad sign that your script isn't that interesting. Or you might be talking to somebody who doesn't actually know how to analyze character or story because their brain is just full of nothing but little detailed facts about formatting and sentence structure. Not to mention, most of the feedback that I actually get on these scripts regarding formatting, it's usually wrong or it contradicts feedback that somebody else gave me. For example, this, just point of view. How do you put that into a script? There are actually a couple different ways to do it, and different screenplay books and different screenwriting professors might tell you slightly different variants on ways to do it, so some people will say, oh, well, it's wrong, you need to switch it to this one, and then other people will be like, oh, no, you need to switch it back to this one, and then it just juggles between these, so I get more and more frustrated as I'm not really getting the feedback that I need when I'm creating a screenplay. So what I've been forced to do is every single time I've created a script and I'm looking for feedback, I'll actually give them a list of questions beforehand. That way they know exactly what they're supposed to be looking for and how they're supposed to be analyzing the script. It's okay to ask people what you're looking for when you're asking for feedback, because if you don't give them any direction, you're probably just going to get spelling notes. So here are the questions that I like to ask. What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? What was your favorite moment? What was your least favorite moment? Who is your favorite character? Who is your least favorite character? At any point were you confused, and why? Are there things that just don't work? Moments or jokes that fall flat? Do you feel the story accomplishes what it's trying to do? Would you like to see more of these characters on their journey? These are the top questions that I think are going to give you the most valuable feedback when you're trying to create a story. Because what they don't like is actually just as important as what they do like. So when you're given feedback like, well, your side characters are worthless, then it's going to challenge you to actually make those characters better and more interesting. In my ongoing efforts to get script feedback, I tried turning to different resources, and one of the ones that I looked at is this gigantic Facebook group. This screenwriting Facebook group is an absolute nightmare. Whenever somebody comes along with a very simple question that has a very simple answer, there are hundreds of people ready to fight that answer as hard as they can. People who have never read a book, never taken a class, they're still going to answer your question even though they have no insight. You can't ask this group. You will not get a correct answer. And I mean, if you go anywhere online, any Facebook group, Twitter, Reddit, or anything like that, you're asking just random people who might not have any qualifications at all. So you might as well just Google it or read a screenplay book. I got so exhausted with receiving random notes that don't match on screenplay formatting, so I just downloaded 7 different scripts, random episodes, in 22-minute formatting, and I actually studied them and took notes on how they were formatted. And I got really interesting results. It's a complete shit show. Every single one of these uses a different format and a different style in their writing. And a lot of the main rules about screenwriting were just thrown out the window. Like, I was told never ever use directing through parentheticals, but Community had parenthetical direction for almost every single line of dialogue. I was told never to include emphasis in dialogue, but these scripts just randomly used underlining, bolding, italics, and all caps to emphasize dialogue frequently. The next one is The Big Bang Theory. I actually gave up reading the script because the formatting was such a huge nightmare. It was wildly different than any of the other scripts. I was taught that in screenwriting it's about a page a minute, but these are nowhere close to that. As for act structure, most of them had either 2 acts or 3 acts. The only one with a 4-act story structure was South Park. And say what you will about Trey Parker, but damn it, the man knows story structure. Now the first thing you're going to point out is that those are all industry professionals. So they have earned the right to go a little offbeat and do things their own way. Since I'm just some jerk making a spec script, I have not earned that right yet, and I'm going to be judged more on the actual formatting and detail put into my work. So what I learned is that if you're creating a script that you want to pitch to a specific network, the best thing that you should do is download a bunch of scripts that are similar to the thing that you're trying to produce, and then copy the formatting that that specific company is doing. So for example, if I wrote a sitcom and I want to pitch it to NBC, What I'm going to do is I'm going to download a bunch of NBC scripts from some of their newest content. I'm going to write down the formatting that they did in their way, and I'm going to bend my script to be mystory.nbc. So that way when I go pitch my script to them, not only are they going to see that my screenplay formatting is good, but it also matches the branding and the way that their company likes to do things. So I'm more likely to be able to work with their staff. Now let's say NBC didn't like my script, but I still want to pitch it to another network. Now I'm going to download a bunch of scripts from that network, and I'm going to change and update my script so I'll have my story.whatever network. Like mystory.netflix, and then I'm going to pitch it to Netflix. So your one script can actually have multiple versions for multiple pitching. So I learned from direct research and reading these scripts what I feel like I should be doing when I pitch to each one of these individual companies as a spec scriptwriter. I also learned that there is no one perfect screenplay format, and that's a huge problem with a lot of the screenplay communities is that they assume that there is. So everybody's judging every screenplay based on something that is so specific, yet it's actually flexible. Different companies do it in different ways. So after reading all these scripts and putting together my notes, I feel a lot more confident about my formatting, because I'm a lot closer to a professional standard than I thought I was. And confidence is really most of it. Put together a good story, put it together the best way you can, and the hard part is actually pitching it. But what do you think? Do you think the best way to learn screenplay formatting is to read stuff written by professionals? Or do you think it's to take classes or read screenplay writing books? What are some of the worst and most useless notes that you got on one of your screenplays? Let us know in the comments. Until then, see you next time.